Hello, friends. My name is Steve. This is Steve Talks Books. Thanks for coming by, watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I plan to read, what I didn't quite finish, and some other fun topics, stuff that's going on the channel, and things like that. For those of you who are new here, I typically read grimdark and horror, but I'm into anything. I've just been reading more grimdark lately. Just the way it's worked out, just what I've been in the mood for. It's been tickling my fancy. You might also notice that I have lots of conversational videos on the channel, lots of interviews, discussions. I like to interact with people. I like that back and forth because talking to a camera by yourself can get a little boring sometimes. So I do like to interact with other creators and other authors, get to know people, hear their stories, and I learn a lot that way. So let's start with what I was reading last week. Last week I have been reading The Winter Road by Adrian Selby. I think it's safe to say it's a grimdark book. It's pretty dark. I'm about halfway through, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. The action scenes, one thing before I get into action, one thing that I think one of my biggest takeaways from The Winter Road so far has been tension. The way that Adrian Selby builds tension has been pretty intense. It's almost like in a movie when you're watching a movie and you can feel that things are closing in on you and you can feel that things are about to happen. That tension that's built, and your heart starts to pound, and the music starts to speed up. It's kind of like that, but with text, it's very hard to set that up. But Adrian Selby does a great job setting up tension, building tension, and that tension doesn't always lead to anything. Sometimes it's just tension, just to build tension to make you feel uncomfortable. But when the tension does lead to something, the action scenes are very jarring. And when I say that, it's almost like it sets you in the place of the characters, that everything is happening really fast. So everything seems like it's happening one event right after another. And it's also another way of building tension and of making you feel uncomfortable. And you're in the action yourself. And we are doing a deep dive with author Adrian Selby into this book on April 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you'd like to come by and interact with us for that discussion, it will be spoiler filled. If you haven't read The Winter Road and you want to interact with us on stream, it's not too late. It's not a very long book by fantasy standards. It's about 450 pages long. So there is time to read it, to join us for that discussion if you'd like to pick Adrian Selby's brain and learn more about what went into the book and how he wrote certain things or whatever it may be. So this week I will be finishing The Winter Road because I'm about halfway through and I'm having trouble putting it down. It's been a long few weeks with work and other things going on. It's taking me away from my reading time. So this week I will finish The Winter Road. I hope by today, by Sunday, I hope to be done with The Winter Road because I want to finish it up. And after that, I hope to put a good dent in Hall of Bones by Tim Hardy. And I also want to finish one of the two other series I have going on right now that I do have events planned for. One of those series is the Rift Cycle by Halo Scott. We are doing a deep dive for the series, a spoiler-filled deep dive with Halo Scott when I finish that series. And also the other series that I want to finish is The Lot Lands by Jonathan French. We're also doing another spoiler-filled discussion into The Lot Lands with Jonathan French for the trilogy. So I want to finish those two, and then I plan to get into The Darkness That Comes Before. I think about maybe even rereading that, or at least skimming through it, and then I want to continue that series because I want to have a discussion for that series this summer. So maybe June or July, I want to have a group together to talk about that series. So that's something that I am going to be working on soon, to get people together to discuss that trilogy, maybe even each book. I'm not sure yet. And this week on the channel, my interview with Brian Stavely did post on Monday, and on Friday my interview with Nicole Eisener and Beverly Lee posted on Gabriel Davenport's birthday. They worked together for a collaboration project called Crimson is the Night. So it does combine their two vampire worlds together. It's a novelette, but you have to read the Beguiled by Night and you have to read the Gabriel Davenport series before reading Crimson is the Night because you don't want to spoil yourself. That is a free book on the website. All the links are there. I'll leave them down below if you're interested in reading that. Also on Saturday, we had our Dead House Gates discussion with Ursi from Cersei's Booked, with Yulene from Yulene Reads, Joseph Carroll with Philip Chase, and Layla Gaushi. We did get together and talk all things Dead House Gates. I want to thank all of you who came by to discuss that with us, to interact with us in the chat. It's always great when you get the chat involved because it adds a lot to the discussion. So thanks to all of you who came by for that. And also, of course, on Friday night, I was on Chatting with Nuts with Jimmy Nuts. That was a ton of fun. I was a little nervous going into it because I wasn't sure if I was going to make a fool of myself, but I think it went okay. Those 3 hours just flew by, and that's when you know it's a good time, because before I knew it, it was 2.5 hours long, and I still had things I wanted to talk about. So it went really well. I want to thank all of you who happened to watch that, who found the channel that way. Thank you for coming by and supporting the channel. It's great when you interact with other people in the community, and get to meet new people. And Jimmy and I are talking about doing some collabs in the future, which I'm all about, as you all know. So this week on the channel, my interview with Sean R. Bell will post. That's a really positive and uplifting conversation. So those of you who are interested in watching that will post on Monday. Next Saturday will be episode 4 of Page Chewing with P.L. Stewart. And our guests will be Mark Timoney and Thomas Howard Riley. We plan to talk world building. Yeah, so next Monday, the following Monday, we do have 2 episodes of Page Chewing planned, but I'll get to that next week when we get closer to them, because there's 2. There's one early in the morning for me, and there's one in the evening. So that's going to be a busy day, but I'm looking forward to it because we have some awesome guests coming on. And this week there wasn't a whole lot going on the channel. There wasn't a whole lot that I read. There's just more plans that, stuff coming up. I do want to finish those 2 series that I talked about earlier. So I want to mention a couple of things in the community that are going on. My friend Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life, she is doing 30 videos in 30 days. She's doing a vlog every day this month in April. And it's really tough. And she's doing a vlog every day. That's a lot of work. Back in September, I did 1 video per day for 30 days with short story reviews. And that was tough, and I did that a lot in advance. She's doing this every single day. So go by and support her. She's doing this month. It's really tough. It really helps to get people to come by and to just kind of be encouraging. So go check out her channel if it's interesting to you. If you want to support her and her channel, go check that out and see if it's for you. If you do, then, of course, a thumbs up or a comment, even, anything just to kind of cheer her on for her quest for 30 videos in 30 days. It's tough to do. Also, our friend Joseph Carroll, or J.R. Carroll, he's joined us on a few of our discussions. He's joined us on the Dark Tower discussions, and he's also joining us on the Malazan discussions. I've also done an interview with him because he's also an author. He goes by J.R. Carroll, and his book is More Than a Vampire. He started a BookTube channel, so go by and check him out. It's always great when someone creates a channel, and someone that I know creates one, so I want to give a shout out. And it made me think I should be mentioning new booktubers, like maybe find someone that did a BookTube newbie tag and just mention it every week. So if that is of interest to all of you, if that would help, I think it would help these new channels, just because if one other person goes and finds a channel, then it's worth mentioning. So if that's something that you would all want to see, let me know. I plan to do it anyway. But it'd be nice to know if that's of interest, if that'll help out these new channels, because it is tough starting out. So during my chat with Jimmy, we did talk about movies quite a bit, and we did talk about bad movies that we enjoy. And he likes Battlefield Earth. I think it's a terrible movie, but some people like it. Jimmy said he enjoys it. So I wanted to ask all of you, do you have a guilty pleasure movie? Is there a movie that you enjoy but you shouldn't, or you just kind of feel like you don't want to admit to other people that you do enjoy? One movie that I've enjoyed watching over the years that I feel was marketed wrong, that should be more popular. It's actually gaining popularity now, later, and I think it was a bomb at the time, but now it's gaining some, like, a cult following, is a movie called Jennifer's Body. And I think at the time, Megan Fox had this reputation of she was in that post-Transformers kind of, mode where she wasn't too well respected, and that's a whole nother thing. But at the time, I think they mismarketed it because it's more of a comedy. It's more of a comedy horror than it is a horror movie. I think they marketed it as a horror movie, and it's more of a comedy, like a coming of age story. So that's one of the movies that I really enjoy that most people don't enjoy or don't really know about. So that's my movie that I think is hilarious. I love that movie, but a lot of people don't know about it or just don't care for it. So what are you watching, reading, or listening to this week? We are finishing up Seinfeld, and there was a noticeable drop-off after Larry David left. I still refuse to watch the finale. I will not be watching the finale. I will watch the episode before, but there is a huge drop-off I feel like in quality after Larry David left that show. And speaking of drop-off in quality, I did mention last week, we did talk about series finales, like TV series finales that were terrible, and Dexter was on my list. And I had mentioned that after season 4 of Dexter, you should just stop watching because it just is not very good, in my opinion. We can all disagree. But when I talked with Jimmy last night, he had mentioned that it was because of the writer's strike that they lost their writers after season 4, and that contributed to the drop-off in season 5. So let me know down below what you're up to this week. Let me know what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to. I always like to hear what you're up to this week, what you have planned, anything fun going on in your world. Let me know. I really enjoy the back and forth. So let me know how you're doing. If you'd like to connect with me, I can be found on our forum, which is pagechewing.com. So we have a lot of our discussions and we make a lot of our plans for upcoming events. You can also be found on Vero. It's all these links are down below. I use Vero for most of my personal stuff, like the beers I'm drinking, or the music I'm listening to, or the movies I'm watching, or whatever it may be. It's kind of like my catch-all kind of social media, like my social media that's not focused on just books. If you are looking for just book-focused stuff, I am on Twitter at Steve Talks Books. That's I use Twitter quite a bit, but I try to not use it too much. I just use it for books, and that's it. I am on Instagram and Facebook, but I don't check them very often, so I don't know if it's the best place to find me, but I'm on Instagram and try to post like once every few days when I remember. It's tough to remember all these different platforms. I also have a podcast that I post all the long-form content on, so if you are interested in the longer-form discussions and conversations and interviews, they can be found on the podcast. All those links are down below. The podcast is on all the major podcasting platforms. It's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, and I never remember all of them, but chances are if you use a platform, it's listed there. If not, then let me know and I'll double check it. As always, thank you for coming by, saying hello, for your support. I really, really appreciate it. It's great to have this interaction, this back and forth. Otherwise, it's kind of boring just talking to a camera by yourself. So thank you, all of you, for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Your time is very valuable. So for you to take some time out of your day to listen to me talk about books and other entertainment-related stuff, it means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Hope all of you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.